This is The Spot, a BYU-Idaho radio production where we talk about what you're talking about at BYU-Idaho. The views and opinions of this podcast are not that of BYU-Idaho Radio or the university, and are solely the opinions of the hosts. Today's hosts are
Maiya Waddel,
Breanna Latouche,
with our guest host,
Nix Johnson,
and I'm Savannah McCauley. Today we're talking about one of my favorite subjects of all time, board games and D&D. I love actually collecting board games. I have over 40 at this point. And D&D is something we do weekly, in fact, with these two ladies right here. So we've got a good group to talk about this, and we're excited about it. So anything when it comes to a hot take about board games, guys, are there any ones that you don't like? Board games or D&D, something about it that you don't like?
Monopoly.
Monopoly is a good one to hate.
I played with some family friends once. We had to stay at their house for a while, and we were playing it, and we were starting to get really angry with each other. So we were like, you know what? We'll stop playing this game. We had like this joke that it was ruining relationships since 1935.
No, that's a fair point, honestly.
On top of that one, might I add Pictionary?
Oh my goodness, Pictionary.
Because A, especially in the older version, takes forever. B, almost ruined my parents' marriage because they were on their honeymoon when they realized they had to actually play a game together, like just those two, and they didn't realize how competitive they were.
Exactly.
And so they're on their honeymoon, like ready to throttle each other. Like, this might not last super long, so any game that makes you overly competitive, I'm like, not for me.
Nope, I'm good. What about you, Maiya?
I would say the game of life is one that I think really tears people apart too.
That's fair. That is fair. I don't know. For me, because I'm such a connoisseur of board games, a lot of the basics bother me. Like, let's play Life, because like I've played those games 50,000 times. I want to play this cool game called Takenoko. Like, come on. So it bothers me when people are always wanting to play the basic things when I want to play something kind of fun and different, you know. But I understand, because people already know how to play those games, that they are more comfortable playing those games, versus if I bring out Takenoko, they're going to have to learn how to play it. And I understand that that's probably something why they would rather play those games, right? So, you know, I understand the other side of it. But as far as like games that I really like, I'd say like Betrayal on House of the Hill, or on top of the House of the Hill, at House on the Hill. Is that right?
Something like that.
Betrayal at House on the Hill. Anyway, it's a very good game where you kind of like build the map as you play, and then you're like going through this big mansion, and then you have to solve a mystery with your friends, and then one of your friends might turn on you. It's a really fun game. So that's one of my favorites.
I think a similar game like that is Small World. I think that's what it's called.
Yes.
I've only played it once, but
It's really fun. Yeah.
the board game that I really liked as a kid, it was called Disney Seen It.
Yes.
It was a DVD, but also a board game, and you'd have like your own piece, and you'd put in the DVD and press play, and then it would play like a scene or a quote from a movie, and you'd have to guess what Disney movie it was.
Oh.
It was so much fun, and I was not good at it, but
It's fun though.
it was really fun.
It's a really fun thing, and sometimes I'm like, where did you get this scene from? It's like the most like obscure scene ever. Like, what is this? It is a very fun game though. I love having the synchronization of the DVD with the board game, and you're all kind of in the same area with this big TV with all the stuff. It is really fun. Absolutely. Maiya?
I would say matching games are pretty fun too.
Yes.
Just the ability to like, especially the Disney one, we had that when we were kids. So that was fun to see like Mickey and Minnie and try to like match them up. So.
That's so fun.
That is true.
Yeah, Nix?
I might catch flack for this, but Boggle is so underrated.
You love Boggle.
Boggle. So typically the bigger versions, like there's a 5x5 and a 6x6 rather than just having a 4x4 area. And you're just trying to find words and all these little things. But when you have a family that likes making up their own words, it can get really funny, especially when you like only have a certain amount of times you can call them out for it. And so then they have to like look it up on Google, and if it's an actual word, then they, like, you can make special rules where they get like double points. If it's not a word, then they lose points. I think it's so fun, and those little word like game advertisements on your phone are the closest thing I've ever gotten to actually like, downloading a game on there, because I just love it. It's so much fun to find these little words.
They're so fun. I love Boggle. I have played Boggle with Nix, and I can attest she is a very good player. You know, if you play with her, just expect to know that it's going to be tough competition.
I had some practice.
It's really fun. There are so many different games. Is there one that you guys think would be like underrated? Like something that a lot of people should love, but they just don't know about it?
Ooh, have you guys heard of Splendor?
Splendor's a good one.
I think it's
I love Splendor.
one. Like, it's not like brand new, but it's new-ish as in like the last few years. And I feel like board games take a little bit to catch on.
They really do.
But it's like, it's a mixture card game strategy. You're trying to earn 15 points before anybody else, but it's really, it takes a little bit to catch on.
The cards are like jewels.
Yeah,
so you're
cards are like jewels. So you're getting,
trying to collect jewels that are worth different points, but they're worth different points if you match them with other types of jewels.
yeah, like
and
you
things
can get
like
like
that.
4 blue and 4 green ones that you can attract like this noble person who gives you more points. So it's a very heavy strategy game, but it's pretty fun. I like it.
That one's a really good one to mention. Another one I feel like is kind of underrated. Now we did talk about Monopoly, but this one's different. Gamer Monopoly.
Ooh, yes.
So if you've never played Gamer Monopoly because you're like, that's a Monopoly, I have shunned Monopoly out of my life, I promise you Gamer Monopoly is different. It is very, very fun. So basically what Gamer Monopoly is it's very similar to regular Monopoly, but what is different is they have bosses that you fight every single time you go around Go. So you can like fight this boss in the middle of the board, and you basically roll the die and try to beat the boss, right? And if you beat the boss, you get extra coins or extra points or something that will affect the game. And then after 10 rounds, you fight the last boss, and then you count up points, and that's whoever has the most points at that point wins. So it's not as much as a long game, more of a limited kind of time limit where you're trying to get all of this stuff in, or all the points in Monopoly. Another thing that you get to do in Gamer Monopoly is you drop coins on the board. Like when, for example, if somebody rolls like a power, because there's a power die along with the like move die. If they roll a power, yeah, it's very Mario based, and you can roll something like a little POW box, and that would affect everyone else on the board, and they have to drop physical coin pieces onto the board. And then if you pass those coin pieces while you're playing, you get their coins, you get their money. So it's really fun, a very good version of Monopoly, but I feel like it's severely underrated. People just don't know about it, and they should, because it's the best version of Monopoly ever. So should try it out. And then there's different ones. So there's like regular Mario Gamer Monopoly, then there's like Mario Kart one. There are several different games too. So I think there was an Animal Crossing one at one point, but I haven't played that one. I have an Animal Crossing Monopoly, but I don't know if it's Gamer Monopoly or regular Monopoly, so that's why I haven't touched it yet. But but yeah, anybody else about an underrated game?
This one really isn't, it's not really underrated, but I feel like I don't hear about it a lot. It's the game Risk.
Yes.
My brother loves that game, and he's really good at it, and it makes everybody else mad, so we don't play with him. But it's actually like a really fun game, like trying to conquer other countries, and I don't know, I feel like it's not talked about a lot anymore, but like Settlers of Catan is.
I know. And I would say those are probably similar, right? Risk and Catan?
They're a little bit, yeah.
Kind of a little bit.
Settlers of Catan, you like build roads.
Mm-hmm.
And you get points based on that.
That is a good point, though. I don't know if we've talked about Risk or Catan yet in this episode. Like, both of those are great games, so that's a great one to point out. What about you, Maiya? Is there one we haven't talked about yet that you're like, come on, people?
What about Apples to Apples?
Oh, that's a good
That
one.
one's a pretty fun game.
I feel like it depends on the group. It can be fun.
Yeah.
Or it could be awful.
So annoying.
That's true.
Like if you play it with your like FHE group, it might be not as fun as if you're playing with your besties, right?
That is true,
Like,
yeah.
like, I don't know. I've had it at FHE before, and it's kind of like I don't know you well enough to know whether you're trying to be funny or if you just like don't know me. You know what I mean? Like, and it's like, do I laugh or am I trying to be sympathetic to you because you're trying to get to know me? You know, it's hard to decide in that specific scenario. But I do think it's a great one.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. What about, is there one that you guys played as a kid that you like don't play anymore but you kind of miss? For me, Candyland.
Oh yeah.
I haven't played it since I was really little. I mean, I probably did at one point, but like I don't remember. Very rarely have I played it since I was a kid.
Does Twister count?
Yeah, absolutely.
So then Twister.
Twister's a great one.
Yeah.
That was really fun, but yeah, I can't see myself doing that right now.
No. Same.
I'm almost 30. I can't handle that anymore.
There was a Monsters Inc. match card game that we used to play as kids.
That's so fun.
It's adorable.
Monsters Inc. is the best too. Like when Monsters University came out, I was like, I have to watch this. But anyway, that would be cool if they made a Monsters University one too, and you could play it now. Like they made it for adults because the people who watched it like
Yeah,
grew.
there's more than 10 cards you had to match.
Yeah, that would be cool. What about you, Breanna?
It would actually be live.
Oh really?
My family played that sometimes. We also had like a video game version. But we loved playing live in Candyland. Oh, Chutes and Ladders. There.
That's a good one.
Yeah, we had that one.
That's a good one too. There was a lot of games we play as kids, and then I just don't play them as much anymore because they're more for kids, you know? They're so fun to remember though because there's so many good like family memories, right?
Yeah.
Speaking of memories, any crazy memories about board games? I remember playing, for just an example from my family, I remember playing Monopoly with them. Of course, it's Monopoly. And my older brother, he is this like great historic, like he loves history. He loves like the finances of history and like tactics and stuff. So if you play with him in Monopoly, you're going to lose. And so every time as a little kid, because he's like 8 years older than me, so like completely different like ages whatsoever, right? So I'd be like, 8 and my brother's like 16 and he's just like dominating the board, and of course I get upset because I'm an 8-year-old and I want to win Monopoly and I can't because my brother's so good at it. And so I remember doing that so many times and like really wanting to beat him, and I never did, obviously, because he was so good at it and he was so much older than me and knew how to do things, So it was a lot of fun, but also a lot of like chaos, you know what I mean? Yeah. What about you guys?
Goes back again to Pictionary, where it's just kind of a crazy story.
Yeah.
I don't know why we ever played this game as a family, considering what happened the first time my parents played. But my mom, bless her heart, loved the woman to death, cannot draw to save her life.
Oh no.
We play Pictionary, and she's sitting there and she's like trying to draw, and it's one of those where like the teams are competing against each other to draw the same thing, and have the one team guess it first. So she's trying to draw. It gets to the point where she slaps her hand down on the table, like traces her hand, but she's like drawing all this stuff, and we're like, it's a geyser, like it's all this stuff, and the other team just goes, it's a turkey, and we're like, what, mother, what on earth is that? Like, it was the most horrific drawing. Like, you couldn't try to make it worse. It was hung up on the fridge for months. Like, it was so funny. So
see, those kinds of things, even though Pictionary can be quite annoying, sometimes it's funny to see those kinds of things and then like the guesses you have, and then you're like, that's not at all what that was. Like, not at all.
Still reference to the game too. Like, if we ever play again and we can't guess it, we just go, it's a turkey, and then the person knows that we have no clue what's going on.
I guess for me, the turkey also, I was gonna say turkey because when you trace your hand, it always reminds me of when you're a little kid and you make the turkeys for Thanksgiving in like what, first grade? You know what I mean?
I think the problem was she only got like halfway and she was on top of her already drawn drawing.
Oh no. Oh, you would think she'd erase it or something. Or a new piece of paper.
Something.
What about you guys?
I don't know about like crazy memories, but I just remember like especially in Uno, I'd lose all the time.
Oh,
My brother would always win, and I'd be sad because I'm like always losing.
Such a savage game.
I know.
Oh, we had one of those Uno things as a kid, where like if you smack the top of it.
It's like attack Uno.
Yeah, attack Uno, so you wouldn't know how many cards you're getting. Sometimes it would be 1, and sometimes it'd be like 6. It just spits it out at you like super fast.
Yes.
Plus 2, and it's like, well, let's see how much you're actually getting. Death, like
What the heck? That's amazing. Those are always so crazy though.
For my family, we have this game called Anomia. It's where you like battle each other. So if your card has the same symbol as somebody else's, you would like battle, I guess. And each card has like a different topic. And so you have to say your opponent's like a subject from that topic first. And so my dad, what he does is he'll just shout out random words and confuse you so that he gets the word right, and then you're just like
what?
He shouted out like cat, big cat, tiger, and that wasn't even the word. That wasn't even the subject he was supposed to say. He just grabbed the card, and we're like, no.
You're like, no, it has to be related to the topic.
Put that back.
oh, that's great.
Board games are the perfect family night game thing, you know, like absolutely love it. But then there's the strategical board games, like the ones that like people like me who collect board games will play, but only with other people who like really love board games, you know? I feel like now I know that Catan is pretty easy for people to understand, but it is one of those things that strategically, if you play with the right people, can be very fun and competitive. Like, I absolutely love Catan. Do you guys have any fun Catan stories?
I've never played.
The first time I played was with you a couple of years ago.
Really?
I've only ever played with you, so I think it's been like 3 times. And I think I managed to win once just because we decided to do teams.
You did. You did. Who were you on a team with? Do you remember?
I do remember. I'm not gonna say that.
Okay, that's okay. You don't have to. But yeah, I don't remember that particular instance, but it was a really, really fun game. So that's one I recommend to anybody who hasn't played Catan, because if you're somebody who does like to stick to those games that you already know, I will say Catan is one of those that's fairly easy to learn as somebody who doesn't play strategic, like extra strategic card games with more like board gamers who love board games. But Catan is strategic, not hard to learn, but strategic, and it's kind of fun to learn that little process with your friends and actually have something different to play that you haven't played before, that's not the same game that you play with everyone. So that's one I would suggest. If you haven't done so, play Catan this week. Do it. Find somebody with Catan. I promise you, it's super fun. Especially on campus, I would say a lot of people here on campus probably have Catan. It's very popular around here. So, well, another thing we want to talk about tonight, or today, not tonight, is Dungeons and Dragons. So, Dungeons and Dragons, if you're not super familiar, you probably have heard about it, but if you're not super familiar with it, it's a tabletop game. It's not really a board game. It's more like a imagination kind of game where you improvise with your friends, and it's a long-term game most of the time. So you're playing like with the same group of people once a week for a good chunk of time on the same game. And basically how it works is you have like a story, you have a place, and everyone has characters that they've made, and those characters have different abilities and things like that. And they roll dice to say something happens where you have to see something. You would roll a die to see if you have seen that in character in the game. So it's very much an imagination game, an acting game, but also there are specific rules. And you gotta follow the rules, as well as follow the person who is running the campaign, which you call the Dungeon Master. And that person is the person who's made the story, who's made the world, and is running the game and playing everyone who isn't a character. So, and that person currently is me in our campaign. I'm that person, and then I've got these 2 lovely ladies that are part of the campaign as well. And Maiya, if you want to join, you're welcome to join as well.
Yeah, cool.
We also talked about a little My Little Pony game coming up too, so that might be a little fun too. But we're talking about D&D, not My Little Pony. So, so yeah, any fun memories or moments about D&D?
So in my first campaign, we were trying to get to this island, and figure out what was causing these like mysterious storms. And I was a kobold that followed like this evil god. We were on this ship and we wanted to fish, and so one of the other players was like a bird, and so they picked me up, and we went fishing in the sea. We decided to draw like a picture of it, which is so funny.
That is awesome.
And then I sacrificed the fish.
Oh, to your god. So to people who don't play D&D, can you explain what a kobold is?
It's like this little dragon creature, but without any wings, and they're like 4 feet.
Yeah, bigger than a lizard, but definitely smaller than a dragon.
Yeah.
They're kind of like dragon people that are really small. Without wings, yeah.
My character was basically just like that weird character that just randomly does weird stuff. And you're like, what? Why?
Like, why? Because fun, that's why.
I think I was either waffle evil or chaotic evil.
It's always fun to play those characters that are completely different than yourself, because you're like, I would never do this in real life, but it's kind of fun to play it out in an imaginary game where no one gets hurt. You know what I mean? Like, it's always fun. What about you, Nix?
Oh, how many do you want? I got so many stories.
At least one.
All right, let's see. One of my favorite stories, it was in my very first campaign I ever played 10 years ago. So we ended up playing this game for like 4 years straight, because we started in high school, and then we ended up reconnecting after our missions, and we're like, we need to finish this. So we did. I was this elf monk person, doesn't really matter, because what matters is the fact that we had a bag that could hold anything, bag of holding, and we had a boat that can compact to the size of cube.
Of course.
So
you put your boat in your bag, right?
We put the boat in the bag, we added wheels to it, and then whenever we wanted to in town, we'd pop up the bag, use a little magic spell to release the boat that now had wheels, and became land pirates. So we would be riding a boat through town. We never really stole anything. It was more of just a show of, we have a boat and you don't, and we're in the middle of
Like,
land.
ha!
Because somebody else had like this teleportation spell, so we also used the boat to maybe drop it on a couple people that we were fighting. So we had some good fun times.
See, this is the kind of chaos you can create in a D&D campaign. Have you ever played D&D, Maiya?
Never.
Have you, like, what we're talking about and communicating about, is it making sense to you? Have we talked about it in a way that makes sense to somebody who hasn't played?
Yeah, I would say so.
Good. Have you heard of, like, the type of characters you can play in the game?
I know there's like wizard, elf, and different kinds of characters.
Yeah, so there's all kinds of different ones. So you named a race and a class there.
Oh, I did?
So completely different things. So every character has a race and a class. So you could be an elf that's a wizard.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yeah. So a wizard the classes are like what your character does. It's kind of like a profession in a sense. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Like you have like a specific purpose, right? Mm-hmm. And the race is just what your character looks like and how their culture would have been in the game, that kind of thing.
Yeah.
So there are all kinds of ones, but one of my favorite races is the Tabaxi race. And the Tabaxi is a cat people.
No way.
So they're like basically like standing jaguars, you know,
So
like
cool.
really, really cool people. And they're really fun to play. But the class that I like to play is a monk. And the monks, they get to fight a lot. And they're almost like ninjas in a sense. Like they can do a lot of really fun quick jabs and stuff, and they don't really have weapons, they just use their hands. Like they're really fun characters to play. What about you guys? What are your like favorites? Can you explain your favorite types of characters to Maiya, who hasn't played before?
I think my favorite character would probably be the one we're playing right now in our campaign. It's a druid, so she's magic, but specifically within the realms of nature. So there's different types of magic users like wizard and sorcerer, which wizard is more like a book nerd magic user. Sorcerer is like a born with magic kind of user. And druid is nature based. And I'm having a lot of fun with her. My character's name is Twig, Twigg. It's a it's a homebrew race, so like if there's nothing that like you have this very specific idea in your head of like a character you want to play, you don't have to follow along with the exact races. It's kind of fun. You can make up your own if you want to. And so she's just this little gal who currently kind of sucks with magic, and it's really funny right now because we were fighting some spiders in our last campaign. And when I say spiders, I don't mean like the little guys. I mean like they were like 4
like
big.
as big as this table.
Yeah.
Big spiders.
Huge spiders. And so she's trying to like take care of things with her magic, but she keeps getting bitten. And so she keeps getting poisoned, and then she kept missing on her attacks. So she's just this little thing running around trying not to die via poison, which I thought was hilarious. And I've never played a magic user before this time, so druid with the nature base is kind of fun for me because I love nature. I'm a nature gal, so the spells make more sense to me, which is kind of nice.
Another fun thing about druids is they can change into animals.
Oh yeah,
No
totally forgot
way.
about that.
Which is really cool. Which is a big part of it, but not always. A lot of times they just really like nature-based spells. But they can change into different animals. Like if you can't get into a tight quarter, they can change into a mouse and go underneath that little tight quarter and then look on the other side of it. Like it's just a cool thing they can do. Breanna's also a druid in this campaign. You want to tell us a little bit about her? You're a druid.
She's like a halfling, like really small, and I'm trying to think.
You're good.
I think we were at one part where we were getting something and we fell, and there's like spikes at the bottom. And since I'm a druid to make it less heavy, I turned into a mouse, and so I just like crawled up.
That is so cool.
Twig caught her hand while they were falling down in the trap, and to make herself less heavy. That's what happened.
That is so cool.
It was cool.
I haven't been in a lot of campaigns, but I definitely liked when I was a kobold because I was a paladin, which is like you belong to. It's like this monastery, I guess.
Kind of like a church, yeah.
Yeah, and you follow like one god. The funny thing about my character is he didn't know that his god was evil. He just brought up that it was a good god, and so he just like he thought he was good, but he actually wasn't. And so part of the journey was him figuring out that.
Oh my word.
Like this isn't a good thing.
Yeah.
Well,
Funny because typically paladins are on the good kind of side, so to have you can always switch it around for the comedy or whatever effect you want to have.
Yeah.
exactly, change it up a little bit. Well, we actually, since you haven't played before, we have a fun little activity that our buddy Megan decided to put together for us. And so we have characters in front of us here. Introduce your name, your race, and your class there.
So my character's name is Alaric Swiftfoot. She is a half elf, and her class is Rouge.
Rogue.
Yeah, rogue.
So kind of like a thief. Nix?
My character is Eldrin Brightspark. I am a gnome sorcerer. Ooh.
Okay.
And mine is Talio Moonshadow. I'm a wood elf ranger.
All right, and we're actually going to, for this little activity, we're going to try to do an objective as these characters. And the objective is to steal a little artifact from behind the counter of this store. And this store is owned by Lady Mirabelle. And Lady Mirabelle is right there, and you're trying to get this tiny little ring from behind the counter that will help you be able to be more charismatic in the field. But you can't get it without sneaking in and taking it because you guys don't have the money to buy it.
Oh, okay.
So the way we're gonna do this is you guys are gonna walk into this shop, but you're gonna try to be stealthy about it. And the only way to be stealthy about it is to roll for stealth. So we need those dice, Nix.
You mean these dice?
She has 72 sets, 72?
Yeah, that's what I counted last
72 sets of dice. And if you guys aren't aware, those who are listening on Spotify, we have a YouTube channel, BYU-Idaho Radio. And you go on that YouTube channel, you can see this ginormous bag in our video of dice that Nix has. So she's giving each one of the players a D20, which looks like this. Anybody can zoom in there. looks like this, and it has 20 sides, and you want the higher numbers. That's what you want. Each person has kind of a couple strengths on their pages, and it looks like a couple of them have some stealth on there. So they've got different things because they're different characters. So we're going to start this out. All three of you are already in the shop, currently hidden behind some clothes, and she doesn't know you entered the shop. You're trying to get that ring from behind the counter without her seeing you in the shop. All right? This shop is a cute little wooden shop stall in the middle of a town, and you see clothes, you see all kinds of armor, all kinds of little tiny weapons, not big ones, and of course little things behind the counter like that ring that you're looking for.
Is it dark?
It's not dark, it's daytime. She's behind the counter, so you can see there's lots of windows, lights coming in.
Can I cast, let's see, what, I got 3 spells. I'm gonna try my little prestidigitation. That spell is so hard to say. Prestidigitation.
Prestidigitation. Yep.
I've been playing this for 10 years and I still can't pronounce spells. It's okay.
That one's a hard one.
That one is a hard one. So if we're in this little stall, I'm going to create a little harmless sensory effect, as described in my little thing that I have in front of me for those who are listening. I'm going to make the sound like somebody is ruffling through the clothes. Are the clothes farther away from us? Okay.
There are some behind you and some in front of you, like different racks.
Different racks, okay.
Yeah.
The rack that is farthest away from us, I want to make it sound like there is somebody like ruffling through them.
Okay.
Trying to be sneaky but failing. I just want to make that sound to see if it will distract the shop.
All right, let's see. I'm gonna roll to see if this is persuading the lady to move. That is a 19.
Do I need to roll as well? I got persuasion.
So yes,
Okay.
you got a plus to your persuasion, so let's try this.
Ooh, so I rolled a magnificent 4.
Plus your 6.
Plus 6. So
that's
that
10.
makes my total 10, but that's less than 19.
So she notices that this is a trick and does not go to check it. Anyone else have any options? Any thoughts?
This is hard.
Can we perchance see the thing we're after, or we're hiding behind something?
Give me a perception check, all of you. So you don't have extra perception, but you can go ahead and just roll this.
6.
That's bad.
So 12.
23.
So you've got 12. You've got 23,
15.
15. All right, you two see it. You did not see it, unfortunately. But you guys see it behind the counter on the left-hand side. She is currently rummaging through some other things on the right-hand side right now.
Ooh, okay. Is anybody particularly good in what's called dexterity? Do you see that on your sheet?
Yeah, she's got a +4.
Oh, nice. Okay.
Yeah, so I'll roll.
So if you want to try something, these different things are listed on things like charisma, wisdom, dexterity. Those all lead to different specific abilities that your character is good at. Mm-hmm. Characters with high dexterity tend to be really good at moving around quickly and quietly. So you might also see stealth on your page.
Yes.
Yeah. She's a rogue, for sure.
Yeah, so rogues specifically are very good at this. So if you wanted to try something like sneaking around without her noticing, that is something you could try.
I could try that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Go ahead and roll.
15.
Woohoo! Plus your
So-
6 because you're stealth. So she rolled a 21, which means she's able to sneak up to the counter.
Ooh.
Now, if you want to try to steal that ring while she's distracted,
Do I roll again?
give me another stealth check.
Ooh, can I do something to possibly give her what's called advantage?
19.
Absolutely.
She did really, really well.
She did really well. She rolled a 25, but if you still want to try to help her.
Okay, so I also have a spell called Mage Hand, which for those who don't know, basically means that I have this little floating hand that can do things within range. It can manipulate smaller objects, so I'm going to cast my Mage Hand to physically lift the thing I was trying to distract her with earlier, actually lift a piece of clothing up and just float it away to distract her.
Okay, that's perfect. And I'm going to say that she did get distracted by that, and you're able to take the ring with no problems.
Yes.
Great encounter, guys. Great encounter.
So fun.
So that's just a little example of what D&D is, Dungeons and Dragons. So if you've never actually played, there you go. That's kind of how it works, a little thing like that. And then, of course, it's a bigger story at the time. We do need to wrap up a little bit, but we would like to spotlight a little bit about what's going on campus this week and things that people can go to here on campus.
Yes, so there is a Lazy Man Ironman happening this November. If you participate, it's kind of like Ironman. If you participate, you get a shirt, and you're supposed to run 26 miles, bike 112 miles, and then swim 2.4 miles. So that seems like...
Is that over a semester or over a couple days or one day? Because that sounds like a lot.
It's Friday, November 8th from 8 a.m. to 9 p.m.
So one day. It's for the whole month. Okay.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So our cameraman, Jesse, he said that it's for the whole month. So
Yeah.
For those who are at home, that's who we heard.
Awesome.
So that's really cool.
So that's happening. And then there's the choir concert, which is also Friday, November 8th from 7:30 to 9:30 p.m. at the Snow Building. And it's just going to be featuring the women's choir, the Bella Voce ladies, and the university choir join forces for an evening of choral music featuring music of faith and inspiration. It's $5 with iCard and $8 without.
That sounds like a fun performance to go to.
Yeah.
The choirs here are so good.
Oh my goodness.
So true. And then there's the BYU versus University of Utah football broadcast, which is on Saturday, November 9th from 8:15 p.m. to 11 p.m. and it's at the Man-Waring Center. So
right here in the Man-Waring Center where we're actually recording right now,
yes,
you'll be able to see the football game. So,
yeah.
And I've heard there's a lot of really fun activities as well when you come to those to watch the watch party. So super fun.
And then there's actually one more.
Yeah, absolutely.
There's Adopt a Grandparent. There's 8 spots left as of filming this. It's Sunday, November 10th from 3:30 p.m. to 5:15 p.m. at the MC West Roundabout, off campus it says. And you can just visit with nursing home patrons, meet in the roundabout closest to MC and Ice Center, and there's like a group chat you can join so you can communicate with fellow students who attend the events and ask questions to those running the event. So yeah.
That sounds like fun. There's always really fun things on campus to do, and it would be a bad thing not to mention the D&D club here on campus. Breanna, do you have written when they actually meet?
Yes. They won't be meeting. Well, actually, this will come out after. So, they meet every Thursday, Thursday night at 6, and it goes to 10 p.m.
All the way to 10 p.m. That's great.
I forgot to get a location, but yes, every Thursday.
I believe it's here in the MC.
Okay, so
Yeah.
in the tables.
And the table's here in the MC.
You can also go to I Belong, and it should tell you the location. So.
Yeah, and I know the way they function, they actually have the Dungeon Masters at the tables, and then you kind of randomize the groups each week, and that's kind of how they do things. So if you play here on campus, that's the best way to do it on Thursday nights here at the MC.
Can I add a little note about that?
Yeah, absolutely.
I'm trying to get into D&D, and it's something that you're like, it sounds cool, but I'm like a little nervous about that. That's totally fine, because there are different levels for different people. It's like, for example, I'm the kind of player, I kind of struggle to do like character voices or things like that, so I enjoy groups that are a bit more chill on that side of vibe, more about hanging out and creating a story. But if you're more about like getting into character, like making voices, maybe even like dressing up, there's different levels for each person. So if you're nervous about going, it's totally fine, and you just got to find a group that kind of meshes with your vibe, and the chances of you going to a group and somebody is in absolute full costume, full character, and that's every single person there, is kind of low. So if that's something that makes you nervous, it's all good. You can
Don't stress.
Go.
Yeah.
Have a fun time.
Find the right group. You've been listening to The Spot, a production of BYU-Idaho Radio. Today's hosts were
Maiya Waddel.
Breanna Latouche.
our guest host,
Nix Johnson.
and I'm Savannah McCauley. The views and opinions of this podcast are not that of BYU-Idaho Radio or the university, and are solely the opinions of the hosts. This episode was edited by Maiya Matos. Producers were the hosts with supervision by Brandon Isle and Natalia Hepworth. Our theme music is Finding Happiness by DJ Quads, and the perpetual ticking of time by artificial music. To listen to more episodes of The Spot, like and follow us on social media, or visit our website, byui.edu/radio, and click podcasts. Be sure to subscribe to The Spot podcast wherever you get your podcasts, including YouTube, and leave a review of the show and leave a comment on what we should talk about next.